It's hard to believe it's been 5 years since I published The Story Grid, What Good Editors Know. Since then, I've had the honor of sharing StoryGrid tools and methods with thousands of aspiring writers and editors in person and online, and it's turned into a thriving community. We've spawned 3 podcasts in which we discuss and celebrate the craft of writing on a weekly basis. My business partner, client, and friend Tim Grohl and I created a brand new publishing company as well as online and in-person courses and workshops. We've trained a small army of brilliant writers and editors, all devoted story nerds. We're part of a mutual support society called the StoryGrid Guild. It's been a wild and incredibly rewarding ride, with twists that have taken me by surprise, like any great adventure tale. As our community of storytellers grew larger and more diverse over the past year, we realized the original StoryGrid book couldn't meet everyone's needs. Thus, we created a book series called StoryGrid Beats, in which we present key aspects of the craft in easy-to-digest bites. Topics we cover in the beats are wide-ranging, and we're adding new volumes on a regular basis. Recently, we discovered an important piece was missing. With so many books, podcasts, and blog posts on our website now, it can feel overwhelming to writers who are new to our community. We don't want you to feel overwhelmed. We want you to feel welcome. That's why we've written this book as an introduction to StoryGrid 101, a sort of gateway into the whole StoryGrid way of thinking. Our goal from the start has been to demystify the art and science of storytelling, so anyone who has a story to share, in other words, everyone, can learn to write a story that works. Our tools and methods help writers create order out of chaos and build better stories. We try to meet you where you are and show you how to level up your craft. If you're a beginner looking for exactly where and how to enter the StoryGrid world, consider this book your welcome mat and key. Come on in. What are first principles? If you want to write a great story, you'll encounter challenges along the way. To overcome those, the StoryGrid approach relies on a couple of fundamental beliefs. First, we believe there is a single overarching story structure that transcends time and cultures and is deeply connected to human cognitive evolution. In fact, the ability to create and share stories is the very stuff that makes us human. Second, StoryGrid is inspired by classical approaches to philosophy, science, and art, including Aristotle's concept of archai, or first principles. First principles are where knowledge starts. Our StoryGrid first principles are the most basic elements of stories, the fundamentals we go back to again and again. In the following chapters, we'll explore 5 first principles and the tools we use to apply those principles. In short, the principles are: number 1, stories are made up of distinct parts or units. Number 2, stories are about change. Number 3, the change that happens in stories concerns universal human values, the things that most people would say are necessary to survive and thrive in the world, or alternatively, the things that keep us from surviving and thriving. Number 4, each unit of story has a story event, a one-sentence distillation of what's happening and what value is changing. Number 5, within each story unit, we find a pattern of change we call the 5 commandments of storytelling. The inciting incident, which kicks off the action. The turning point complication, which turns the universal human value at stake in the scene. The crisis, which is a big question or dilemma for one of the characters. The climax, which is the decision and the action a character takes in response to the crisis. And the resolution, which is the outcome of the action that happens in the climax. The StoryGrid tools we'll introduce you to include the Fool's Cap and Editor's 6 core questions, the spreadsheet, the infographic, the 4 core framework, and stories boundaries. First Principles is for anyone new to StoryGrid who needs a primer on how we approach our craft. Writers and editors must understand these principles because they explain the universal structures that support and strengthen every story, no matter the genre or form. It's not easy to hold all the StoryGrid principles, tools, and methods in your head as you work. Even editors who have been immersed in this world for years scramble to look up definitions and examples every day. We hope this book makes all our storytelling a little easier. Leave it on the corner of your desk with Strunk and White and Merriam-Webster, and open it up whenever you need a little help.